Peace and power, family. It is B from Unto Re and Pooh in the back seat. And we are here with day 2 of the Poetic launch diaries, or update 2, because I don't think I'm going to be doing this every day. But I did want to give you guys a behind the scenes look of this launch process because it is a process. Okay. And I think that it can be used as a resource for folks who also want to move through something like this, and to give y'all some insight on like what is B doing, right? And so today's video is going to be about the vision. What is the vision behind pushing forward poetry for the resilient? And I really started writing this collection of poetry in 2022. I wrote and finished all of this in 2022, right? And this was right after I had released Sometimes I Cry and to all my students, right? But both of those were collections and a poem that I had already had in my arsenal, right? These were poems that I had been writing since 2017, and I had been teaching since 2015. So all of that was just like accumulation of me after Howard University. Like, it was like, this is me after Howard. She's a teacher. She's about to go to law school. I was actually writing some poems while I was in law school. It was like maybe 4 or 5 from when I was in law school. And this is who she is, right? And to all my students was really me trying to cope with the reality that my kindergartners are probably on Zoom, like taking tests on Zoom. And I was so frustrated, and I wanted to provide some type of care, right, through me, like through a reflection of me. And pushing forward really was originally the release, right? And I called it the release originally because it was me trying to get back to writing for myself, like trying to get back to not worrying about if it's good, if it's bad, if it's too revealing, if it's gonna hurt somebody's feelings, if whatever, right? Like, I really just wanted to write, to express, to get what was in my heart, mind, soul out of my body, and to name the things, right? For me, right? It really wasn't something that I was thinking about putting into a collection, or at least all of the poems were not things that I was like, okay, I'm going to use this later for profit, right? And what happened in 2022 was I was like, this is too personal. I was like, this too real. This too raw. Okay. And I was like, I have to hide this away. I have to wait, until the right time to really release this, right? Like, there will be a right time. And so I took that away, and I started working on 3 whole other books, baby. I started working on a novel around CTE, the football disease, right? And from the girlfriend's perspective, I started writing 365 love poems to self. That was 2023. I used all of 2023 to write those 365 love poems. And then I started writing a book around witnessing, right? Then in 2024, and that really was inspired by like everything that's going on in Palestine and Congo and Sudan, around the world. Cuba, I had went to Cuba in 2023. Like, it was so much coming up for me that I was like, I have to express this, and I want to express it from the role of witness, right? So when I say pushing forward was not even in my mind, like, it was not even an idea, really. It was really the release tucked in the back of the, Google Docs, not really getting no attention, right? And it wasn't even a Google Doc for real yet. It was the title, the release, and a bunch of notes in my OneNote on my phone, right? And I was like, in 2024, I'm writing and thinking about like, what am I about to do? Because in 2023 and 2024, I lost 8 people, and the last one being my grandmother, right? And I kept moving. I kept going because I thought that's what I had to do, right? I took a week after my grandmother, and that was maybe the most time that I had took in reference to all of the death that I had been experiencing, right? Especially at one time. I just kept going because that's what I was used to doing. My great grandmother passed away my first semester in law school, and I remember going home for fall break because it happened right before he went on fall break, going home for fall break, and then coming back and like going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first semester of law school. Like, you can't tap out. You take any time off and you are so behind. So I had built up this practice of just keeping moving forward, like keep pushing forward, keep moving, and you'll be okay. Like, everything will be all right. And what happened was I started going back through my own collection of poems because I was at a point where I was moving, but I wasn't feeling. Like, I got so sick for so much time, and in that time I was really thinking about, like, I actually can't keep doing this. I can't keep moving like this. I can't keep going in this direction. What am I going to do? And writing, it was like, you have to write, right? And the witness was something that was so, about my work, about my experience as a witness through community organizing, right? And that lens of myself, that it wasn't allowing me to express that human, just plain person, in the world, who had lost, like that grief that I was holding, right? And I really wanted to get back to writing from that place of expression, of just getting it out. So I started writing again, and I was going back through the poems that I had written, and then I was like, okay, girl, you know shit. And kept scrolling, like, what else is in here, like, what else? And like started going back down memory lane, going back down that process of like who I was, where I was, how I was during that time, when I was writing Pushing Forward, and was like, yo, I gotta release this. I gotta put it out. Like, I understand that then I was too close to it, right? I was too close to it, and I wasn't in that space of, you know, claiming my own agency, right? And just being proud of making it through all the things that I had made it through, regardless of who I was on the other side, right? I think that there was a lot of shame in what I was naming. There was a lot of fear in what I was naming. There were mental health things I was talking about, sexuality things. It was just so revealing. And I was just like, I can't, I ain't ready to just tell everybody about myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ready to just like release me into the world in this way. And I think after all of this loss, I and reading these poems, I was really like, bro, like, if I don't be who I am now, when will I be who I am? Like, how long are you going to hide? How long are you going to keep yourself from being yourself? How long are you going to tuck yourself in the back folder, right? And not just let your truth be free? Because as the longer you do that, the longer those people who don't want you to be yourself, who don't want you to exist freely and fully in this world, who don't want you to exist at all, will win, right? And I was like, okay, here we go. We about to put out Pushing Forward, right? And I switched it from the release to Pushing Forward because it was a release for me, but I then thought about that whole side of like, you are expressing yourself to the world, and it's like, I absolutely want folks to release and to get some release from this book, but what I really want folks to get from it is that we can push forward, we will survive, we can find sustainability, we can find agency, we can own our truths, and we can share them with the world without any fear, shame, doubt, whatever. Right? Like, I really want it to be a tool, a resource for reflection, right? I want people to be able to read it and be like, damn, what about me? Like, how do I feel about this? What's going on in my own life in relation to this? And I also want people to read it and be like, damn, this is so affirming. Like, this heals something in me. This makes me feel like my truth is a truth and that I can share that and I can be that without consequence, right? And then I want folks to feel like they can move past some shit, right? That you don't have to stay stuck in that idea, that reality, that perspective that is keeping you hiding, right? You don't have to do that. So that is really the vision. Where I could talk. That is really the vision behind pushing forward. And what I hope to do is definitely get this out to the folks that are pledging. We are almost at $900. Y'all are showing out, and I love it and I appreciate it so much. But not only to the folks who are pledging now, but I want to do a North Carolina tour because I am back home. This is home, and I want to start here. But then I would love to get an RV and do a national tour next year and really do like some workshops, do some open mics, do some readings, and book talks at Black bookstores, queer bookstores. Like, I want to travel and like really share that story and that idea and that perspective that we can keep pushing forward. Like, I know the world is collapsing. I know it's chaos all around us. I know it's hard. I know that many of us are struggling, right? But we have to keep pushing forward, because if we don't, the enemy wins. If we don't, the whole system that is set up to make us be stuck in this place, stuck in this misery, stuck in this despair will win. And we cannot let them win, right? In one way, we can make sure that they don't is by naming our truths, right? And naming our needs and making sure they are met. So this is one way that I want to do that. This is one way that I want to name the truth, name my need, and really fight back against the idea that just because dot 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 I am not worthy of existing. I am not worthy of being seen. I am not worthy of being loved. I am not worthy of being supported. And you are not either, right? That is what I want this book to do. And I appreciate y'all for supporting me along this journey, because it will not be a reality without your support. So look at the link in the bio, look at the link in the description, wherever you're watching this, and absolutely, absolutely do what you can to support. Share this with friends, share this with poetry lovers, share this with people who you think might need that encouragement. And we gonna make this happen, y'all. Love y'all.